Let's chat about my client Emily, who came to see me because she wasn't having a regular period and had been diagnosed with PCOS, and what exactly we did. As a functional nutritionist, I helped her go from irregular cycle, no cycle, to cycling regularly and a real period, which was so incredibly exciting. And you might be surprised to learn what we focused on first and foremost, and what hormone imbalance really was at the root of what was going on with her issues. So first off, whenever somebody comes to see me or wants to work with me on their hormones, we always have to look at and assess their gut health. Your gut is really at the crux of almost any health issue. And she had very extreme bloating, but not only that, she had tons of signs of a cortisol imbalance. Cortisol is one of our stress hormones. It's more famous than many of the other ones, but there are other hormones that we would call stress hormones or are associated with stress. But Emily in particular was a track and field runner when she was younger. She was very, very active doing things like CrossFit and distance running in her current life as a woman in her late 20s. She also followed what she thought was a clean diet. She was eating a lot of legumes. She was eating a lot of raw veggies and salads. And she was unknowingly making her health issues a lot worse. The first thing I did with Emily was change her diet and her exercise routine. Both of those, what I focused on was better regulating and managing her cortisol and her stress hormones. So we focused in her diet on foods that were going to be easier for her body to absorb and digest. We focused on regular meals at regular intervals. We focused on her really sitting down and taking her time when she was eating. And when it came to exercise, we actually had her on a plan where she way cooled down on exercise for a couple of months, where she focused just on low intensity walking, on getting outside, on doing things like yoga and stretching, not intense yoga, right? But more kind of, if you're familiar with the styles like hatha yoga, restorative yoga, yin yoga, things that were going to calm her body down. After she had really nailed those two things and gotten super consistent with them, then we started to work on things like her sleep schedule. We started to work on things like her day-to-day habits and choices she was making that were making her feel more stressed, or how we could change out some of the things in her life so that she might feel less stressed. I also customized a supplement protocol for her. She had been taking random things before she came to see me, like over-the-counter probiotics. She had tried things like berberine. She had tried a variety of different kinds of multivitamins. None of those things were really doing much for her body, and in some cases, I think were really making things worse. But it was really important that we got her consistent with the food piece and the diet piece and those habits and the exercise piece before we went and got really intense with the supplement strategy. Now with her, we did use supplements to create a lot of movement. And it's something we can do when we do more advanced functional testing. So for her, we ran a GI map stool test, which told us a lot about what's happening in her microbiome and her intestinal function and her immune system. I also did run blood work on her. We did a full hormone workup via blood, but also via urine using something called a Dutch test. And that really tells us about how hormones are being metabolized. It's very helpful to do a cycling version of that when you have a woman who is in her cycling years. And even if you have an irregular period, if we can try to kind of track when the period might happen, we can actually use that test to give us a lot of really helpful information. So that was how we got Emily going from irregular period, almost no period, lots of bloating, lots of fatigue, to now having a regular period, feeling really energized, feeling happy in her body, and most importantly, from my perspective, feeling really excited about the rest of her life and being able to enjoy this really great space she's in health-wise that she never thought was possible, because she saw all these different specialists and doctors and nobody offered her anything other than hormonal birth control. So if this resonates resonates with you, I just really want to encourage you to reach out for help and support. I have a brand new group program that is running in January 2024 that's focused all around cortisol, because a lot of women are dealing with cortisol issues but are focusing on other things. We're going to focus on cortisol, the things that matter when it comes to cortisol issues, and we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of your diet habits, your exercise habits, what supplements really can support you. It's a small group so that I can really give you personal attention, and we would love to have you join us if it really speaks to you. You can apply to the group in the link in my bio, switch the B and the L, and I can't wait to help you if this resonates with you. Oh, and by the way, I'm not just some random person who's offering a service just because I went through it, which I did. I did go through cortisol issues, and it was a really important piece of helping my symptoms to reverse and helping me to heal with hypothyroidism, with PCOS, with extreme fatigue, with hair loss, which you can tell, not a problem anymore, with skin issues, with period problems, all of that. I experienced all of that. But I also am board certified in holistic nutrition. I'm certified in functional nutritional therapy. I'm certified in running and interpreting functional lab tests, and I also have spent 7 years doing this work. So I'm not some random person who's just made up a program because I'm somebody who's helped hundreds of women go from this kind of fatigue, bloating, irregular periods to having balanced energy, reduced cravings, regular predictable periods. So I know what I'm talking about, and I just want you to know that.